This week on Driving Leadership, I have a special guest, Jason Banuski of HR1. I know you're going to want to tag along for this one.
Not that, I guess at the end of the day, work is a four-lettered word, but I think we can have fun with it.
Yeah, well, we're both familiar with the adage, find a job you love and you'll never work a day in your life.
Exactly.
And it's really hard when you're younger to figure out what that's going to be. And through the work that I do, I actually have opportunities to speak into college graduates that are getting their first jobs. I do some business etiquette training for them. What's it going to be like to be in an office all day or to go visit clients?
Right.
And many of these people have no idea what they want to do, say, for the next 45 years of their career.
Well, I think it's an incredible time in our life to make such a huge decision. I think it's a time of discovery, not decision.
Yes.
And that, some people, I'm projecting a little bit, I wasn't one of those people. Some people know what they want to do when they grow up or want to be, and I cherish that, and others need more of a discovery process.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you for me, I was not one of those people. I thought I was going to be an elementary school teacher, so I went to college to do that, and both my parents are entrepreneurs and own their own businesses, and they were influencing me to say, teaching right now, it's going to be difficult to find a job. Why don't you look into business? And then I discovered at Brockport, where I went to college, there was an international business and economics degree program, but you had to spend a semester abroad. So I really felt like I came back a different person, more confident. I finished my degree and I started my career in sales. And I think so many people that are in sales are saying, well, I don't know if the management or marketing or those things are right, or accounting. I don't know how to balance a balance sheet. So let me see what I can do in sales. And it just worked out so well for me. In fact, the first job I had, I was selling long distance to people during dinner time.
Is that right?
I was one of those annoying guys calling and interrupting. But I knew what I was selling, and I knew what our rate was, and all I would do is just ask, do you know what you're paying for long distance? And if somebody told me no, I'd say, well then, enjoy your dinner or your evening and hang up the phone real fast. But if somebody told me and I knew that our service was less expensive, then I would tell them that, and I would say, in the next 2 minutes, stay with me on the phone and we can get you converted and you can save money.
Right.
So it was identifying what their situation was, and if I could improve it, then I wanted to engage in a business relationship. And if I could not, I wanted to just stay away, and that really helped me.
Thank them, and that's,
Well, I also learned in that I had to get through 100 no's to get one yes. You get through that thing early in sales, and then from there, I ended up getting a job with a software company in Symantec, and they're an international company, and they gave me a job offer to move across the country.
Okay.
So I'm sleeping on a futon at a buddy's place in Rochester, and I get this job offer. It's full benefits and stock options. They doubled my pay. They gave me a relocation check. And then my dad called one day.
Yeah.
And he said, would you consider moving back to upstate New York to come work in our family business? So I'm an early morning riser. Even on vacation, it's 6 a.m. I go down to the lobby in this gorgeous hotel in Yellowstone, and I'm waiting for the coffee to be brewed. And this gentleman that came down that had a lot more gray hair than I did came down as well. And we started talking. Yeah. He was a family business coach.
Oh, no kidding.
And here I am, moving my family across the country to begin working in my family business. And there's been many moments, but I feel like God just kind of put this person in my path to give me advice. And I learned a few things from it. The first thing is this: the value of coaching, and somebody that has more experience than you, and just being smart enough to listen to them and heed their advice. And so he gave me all these great tips about coming into my family business. One of the things he said to me, Bill, he said, when you come into your family business, don't change anything. Just be a sponge. Just absorb what's going on and find out, how did things come to be this way? So joining my family business, HR1, and I know that you're familiar with us, that we do human resource consulting and we have a payroll service, and we work with over 500 organizations throughout upstate New York and just meet so many great business owners and people. Well, for the first 10 years, I worked in sales and I worked as a consultant.
Okay.
And I had no leadership responsibilities. I really waited until I was ready. And I felt that my dad was ready and the business was ready to make that commitment to really be the succession plan in the business to perpetuate it forward. And we're never done growing. We're never done
Hope
learning.
not.
You know, we
Hope not.
have to be lifelong leaders.
Yeah.
Lifelong learners as leaders.
Both of those, yeah.
Yeah. Lifelong leaders and lifelong
Yeah,
learners.
absolutely.
Go hand in hand. But we're, look, I read books and I listen to podcasts and I attend seminars and I engage coaching.
That's awesome.
Because I can only take my company as far as I know how to take it.
Yeah.
In fact, I'll share with you something interesting that I've been doing the last 5 years. There's a payroll company that's 10 times our size.
Okay.
And they're down in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Uh-huh.
Every year, and they're so gracious, but I go down and I spend 3 or 4 days with them, and I go through all of their different operations and what they're doing and running an organization 10 times my size.
Jason,
so I
that's
can learn
brilliant.
strategies.
That's brilliant, Jason.
Yeah, we don't compete with each other geographically, and then I come back with pages of notes, and then I set my strategy for the year, and it really has equipped us for growth, and we've become the fastest growing payroll company in upstate New York, and there's a lot of factors to it, but certainly in part due to building a strategy from people who know more than I do, have experienced things that I have not yet experienced, and then I just have to be, I guess, smart enough to listen to them and take their advice, much like that gentleman back in Yellowstone.
What else are you doing to set yourself up for success in your business and your leadership?
Yeah, so some of the things that I've been reading, Gino Wickman wrote a book called Traction, and it really helped me get a handle on our business and where we were. And then he has a follow-up book called Rocket Fuel, and in there he says that most growth organizations have 2 roles. One is the strategic long-term planner, and the other is the integrator that's responsible for day-to-day making those things work. I'm the strategic long-term planner that is more concerned 3 years down the road than 3 months down the road.
Okay.
And I'm trying to take a look, even in our geographic area here, what's going to be happening with the impact of Micron and the other organizations coming in. What's happening with our labor market? What's happening with the competition that's in our community? And I'm watching and observing what other payroll companies are doing, right or wrong, and adapting my strategy to that. I take my dog for runs.
Nice.
And we go off on these country roads. I have him actually trained that when I stop, when cars go by, I put my hand out to the road. He runs underneath me and sits.
No kidding. That's great.
Yeah, he's off leash, waits for the car to go. He watches me, and then I tell him okay, and then we start running again.
That's fabulous.
Yeah, so it took, people will literally drive by, roll down their window and say, how did you teach your dog to do that?
Yeah.
And my answer to everyone is, it's 90% the dog, 10% me.
Yeah.
What I have to be is consistent. So even if I don't feel like stopping, I have to do it. And I find there's some leadership things from this, that if you have a team and you want to create behaviors in your team, well, you have to model those behaviors first.
That's great.
I can't get my dog to stop at the side of the road if I keep running.
Right.
I have to also stop and do that. So I'm modeling a behavior that I want him to follow.
And consistently.
And then I have to be consistent. So I find that that's something that helps when I'm working with my team. Is I want to have rules for all of us to follow, but if we're following those rules, and that could be anything as simple as meeting quota, or making sure that you're following up with your clients appropriately. My customer service team is following up with calls on a daily basis and tracking those things. As long as we're doing that, look, I am not a micromanager.
Right.
In fact, if you have micromanagement on one side of the scale, I'm on the far other side. I consider myself a laissez-faire manager, and what I do is I give people freedom. And so here's my expectations, and as long as you meet these expectations, I'm not concerned if you show up at 8 o'clock in the morning or 8:30 in the morning, and if you want to go watch a lacrosse game that your child is involved in and leave the office early, great. Have that freedom and flexibility.
Right.
What I'm finding in today's labor market is that's more valuable to people than wages. I think it's a skill set to be able, in a shift, to stop having employers think about it's the hours they put in. No, it's what they put into the hours.
I love that.
Yeah, and really focusing more on that. And if we want to be able to have a workforce that we can attract people that are outside of our geographic area to come work for us, and have a wider pool of candidates that can work from home, then we have to shift those expectations.
So what challenges are you finding in your leadership, in your business, in the Central New York community? What challenges are you facing?
Yeah, with upstate New York, it's there's a feeling of optimism right now. And earlier we mentioned Micron coming in and what that's going to mean. And I think in the long term, it is going to revolutionize this area. We're going to have great high-paying jobs and investment.
It's going to change Central New York, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, like for the positive.
Yes.
And I think so too.
Yes. But to get there, there's going to be some challenges.
Yeah.
Right now, we don't have a lot of people moving to the area. So when Micron opens their doors and they say they have these great new jobs, they're going to be pulling from the local labor market, which is tight as it is. But my encouragement for people is that don't be concerned about people leaving. Focus more on people staying. And how we do that are things like having stay interviews.
Yes.
All right, we're all familiar with exit interviews. Somebody leaves, so we ask them, geez, what could we have done to keep you here? Well, why don't you interview the people that are staying and say what keeps you here?
Love that.
And think about your culture and finding people that fit that culture.
Well, before the cameras were rolling and we were recording, you asked a question of me that I so appreciated. We're both fans of Stephen Covey's work and the principle of keeping the end in mind.
Yes.
You asked me what I hope from this video, which I so appreciated. But as a leader, keeping variable ends in mind, being strategic about that, and being flexible and adaptable along the way sounds really key to your leadership and your work.
Yes. Yeah. I think that your team needs to have confidence that the company and the organization knows where it's going. And at the same time, as we talked about earlier, nobody has it all figured out.
No, not quite.
And leaders need to exude confidence, but at the same time, be humble enough to understand I need to continue to learn and adapt my strategy based on what's happening in the community and conversations with people and those individuals that I surround myself with, and continue to look at our strategy and make it newer and different as we move down the road. But that confidence, I think, is really important. I interviewed somebody for our team, and we were early into the interview process, and I'm sitting observing this interview, and one of my consultants asked her a question about getting into a situation that's unknown, and her answer was, after a few moments of thought, well, I just fake it till I make it. And I knew in that moment I was going to hire her. It was like, whatever else you're going to ask her, I want this in my culture, because I think that's important, that we have a level of confidence and optimism, because it's really easy to look at surrounding things and just find reasons to not be optimistic. I just refuse to believe in that. We get to meet so many unique people here in upstate New York. I know you've used the phrase before, hidden gems. And there are so many great people and businesses that you don't know about. You know the ones that are advertised on television, or the ones that get some media attention, and that's all great. But there's so many other businesses and organizations that are doing incredible work here in this area, led by really great people. And the ability to get to know these people and through the work that we do is a real blessing.
I'd encourage more folks to reach out, go on discovery in their own neighborhoods.
Yeah, walk around downtown.
Absolutely. Go
look at the different restaurants and shops that are there, and maybe outside of downtown Syracuse, whatever your downtown is.
Absolutely.
In your communities, and learn these small businesses, what they offer. And if I can also be a little bit bold, do a transaction with them. I don't know, buy a coffee from them, or a sandwich, or something for your home, or a gift for someone. And even if it's a $20 transaction, it's supporting our local community, and I think that's so important. We're all in this together. We're in this community together, and to be here and support one another. And there's great things on the horizon for upstate New York. I truly believe that. I think that there are going to be some challenges as we move ahead over these next 10 years. But man, the future is exciting and bright, and I'm just happy to be a part of it.
And the sun's out now.
And
how did you do that?
You know,
Good
you
job,
put out
man.
positive energy.
Good job, man. Yeah.
Comes right back to you.
Good job, Jason. This has been a blast.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I really appreciate it.
Thank you.